into it. Check this. You know, lately it's not lately, but yes, lately it seems like there's been a lot more since Kamala Harris whooped Trump's ass in that debate, and left him stumbling all over himself. It seems like, and the polls changing in Kamala's favor, inching day by day higher and higher and higher since that debate. It seems like these so-called MAGA people, which are largely internet based, especially when you're dealing with the, anonymous and unidentified, right? I mean, if you've been following the news, there is something out there called disinformation, troll farms, interfering in elections, and things like that. And so, if you've been following that news and you've been following the news in general, maybe you've noticed in the last week or two, there's been a lot of places promoting straight up empty information, like completely empty. And this is just an example. I want to give you an example. There's loads of them, but I was shocked by how empty this particular one was. And I'm not saying it's the most empty. There's bound to be more because, after all, we're dealing with MAGA stuff, right? Nothing that they say has to check out at all. But I just thought this one was so extreme. It's so interesting. So I just want to review it a little bit. Here it is right here. Let me know what you think of it. And again, if you can prove, if you can add some light to this, please do in the comment section, because I've just never seen it be this extreme, especially from a person who's not of the, MAGA persuasion. I mean, look, MAGA, there's people in the chat talking about, I love Trump from Jamaica. Yeah. Do Trump want Jamaicans? Do MAGA, do they want Jamaicans? They don't want Haitians. I don't get it. But in any case, look, we know it's not immigrants in general. It's just a certain color, a certain heritage, a certain ethnic background that is bothering the issue, But here, let's check this out.
Held as a hostage in Russia, who would you want doing your negotiation deal? Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? Question of the day. If you were being held as a hostage in Russia, who would you want doing your negotiation deal? Donald Trump or Kamala Harris?
I would want Kamala Harris and not Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? And here's the reason why. I mean, listen to this question again. The question is...
Question of the day. If you were being held as a hostage in Russia, who would you want doing your negotiation deal? Donald Trump or Kamala Harris?
If you were held as a hostage in Russia, who would you want doing what?
Question of the day. If you were being held as a hostage in Russia, who would you want doing your negotiation deal?
Who would you want doing your negotiation deal? That's the question that she's asking, and she wants to answer.
Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? Question of...
Look, and then Kamala Harris, with the little, she's like giving Kamala Harris shade, as they call it. But the problem is with that is that any person who wants to research this matter at all, anything about hostage negotiations between Trump, Moscow, Biden, Harris, Moscow, it's out there to be discovered. It's easy to get your hands on that information. The only problem is that Trump didn't get no hostages home. Sure, he gave the thumbs up for the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. He gave that a thumbs up, right? He didn't have any problem with that. But in return for that thumbs up and green light for the invasion of Ukraine, he didn't actually get one prisoner home that was locked up in Russia. But do you know who did actually get prisoners home? Biden. And that's under the Biden Harris administration, the one that's currently serving. Yes, that's who got the prisoners from Russia home. Trump, if you want to speak factually, Trump didn't get any prisoners from Russia back to the US. I mean, and that's just the facts. Um, Now let's go look. Let's look into this. Let me blow this up so we can see this. Look at some of the comments here. I was shocked. I'm still shocked because sometimes the silliness, it gets me. Look, thank you for joining me. If you're a critical thinker who enjoys expanding and challenging your intellect, I invite you to subscribe. But how is this challenging someone's intellect? This is not challenging anybody's intellect because it's not intellectual to make up stuff or be, full of empty rhetoric. That's not intellectual. But here's the thing. I pointed out to her that there were hostages, in Trump's presidency, actually that he didn't get out, But look at this, Trump. See, this is what I mean by internet farms and troll farms. And, you have to look into. Now, I'm sure some of these people really are Trump supporters, but I'm equally just as sure that many of them are not American citizens or are anonymous and unidentified and are from troll farms. Because when you do it this way, it makes it look like you're popular. But the truth is that you can search a lot of these sites and you can see that it's not turning out. It may not be what you think. You can even go to some of these people's profiles and you can see, who makes up a profile 2 months ago and has such a strong opinion for Trump. You will find out a lot of people do. Strangely enough, a lot of the accounts that support Trump, they don't exist for long. They don't go back too many moments in history, but in any case, some might go back a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, but a lot of them, 2 months ago, 1 month ago, a year ago, that's the typical one that I've seen, but there could be others. But look at this, 100% Trump. MAGA love from Jamaica. I don't know if you heard, unless Jamaicans hate Haitians or something. I don't know if you heard, but Trump has just maligned a whole town full of successful Haitians who are in the country legally, working legally, paying taxes legally. And so how do you feel about that? Wayne John, let me see something, 106. Look at that, Wayne John 106. Okay, this is 3-year-old account. Okay, so maybe that's a real Wayne John. There's nothing here, though. There's no information. There's nothing, not one video. Wayne John does not show you anything about himself. Wayne John doesn't want you to know.
Question of the day.
He don't want you to know nothing about him. And he's a staunch Trump supporter. You see what I'm getting at? But it looks like a real name. It looks real. Wow. Look, I believe Donald would have met first class the whole way back and met me at the airport, whereas Kamala, I'd be stuck for good. Let's go look at this. Okay, now this one's 2013, so this is just a real wacko, right? Yeah, look at this. You can see a lot of time on the internet here, apparently playing video games, not really discussing much. But here's the thing. For people that don't know, Donald Trump didn't get any prisoners released. I haven't been able to find a prisoner that he got released. This woman is not saying that he got any prisoners released either. She's not making that claim. She's just like throwing that little shade on Kamala Harris, although it's her administration that got prisoners from Russia home. How backwards could that be? So there's something phony about this. Like, I wonder, does the person doing this even really care? Like, or is this just a way to get some fast, I don't know. I wonder, there's a lot of people that say things on the net just to get attention because that's a quick way to get views by saying something strange and absurd, right? But who knows? I don't know. But in any case, Pearl of Eden is chiming in. Now, we could see that she got 21,000 supporters. I mean, that's a lot. And I suspect if you want to get 21,000 supporters, the easy way to do it would be to support Trump. That would be the easiest thing to do because, number one, they're used to a lot of trolls, so they get a lot of troll support, right? That is, fake accounts. But, it's also a way to get some attention if you don't have another way to do it. You see what I mean? Now, keep in mind, I'm not,
Question.
I'm just pointing out that this doesn't make sense, right? And that right about this election time, you're bound to see a whole lot of this go on. Now, keep in mind, she's not reporting to her followers or her subscribers that it was the Biden and Harris administration that actually got prisoners home from Russia. She's not reporting that. She's not reporting the fact that while Trump was in office, Trump did not get any prisoners home whatsoever. In fact, he basically gave Putin the green light to invade Ukraine. If you trust his word, if you listen to his word as a president, if you think a president's word is bond, that's the kind of stuff he was saying before, so you have to ask, like, what is this, an alternative universe? Or is this just a place where it's not about facts, it's about feelings? Like, I don't like Kamala Harris because of her Indian background, because I met an Indian one day that I didn't like, that treated me poorly, so therefore I don't like Kamala Harris. Is it like, I met a girl like Kamala Harris in high school or in the university, and, she came from Jamaica, so or her daddy was Jamaican, or, so I don't like her, or, what is it about? I'm still trying to figure it out myself, because largely most of the criticisms that have been made of Kamala Harris.
Question of the day. If you were being held as a hostage.
Once you really look into them, you would be like, damn, well, are people really tripping like over this stuff? It's anything about Kamala that's not fact-based, that's not useful for the job. That's what they want to talk about. Notice how nobody talks about Trump's granddaddy. Nobody want to know where the fuck Trump's granddaddy is. By the way, I did look it up myself just to make sure I understood, because I found out a lot of these MAGA people, a lot of them, the ones that are big time, like on TV, if you don't bother to find out their heritage, you will think that they've been here since the beginning of the country. And you find out a lot of the MAGA people haven't. Like Sean Hannity, he's a second generation immigrant. And you would think he hates immigrants more than anybody else. By the way he talks, you would think that, right? And so the question is, why would a second generation immigrant hate immigrants so much? Make a profession out of that is really strange. So I started looking into a lot of them, and then I realized that no, they're attacking people personally about their ethnicity or things like that, things you don't control, when they're doing the same things. Look at the hypocrisy. You have one big Republican running for governor, Robinson. What's his name in North Carolina? Something Robinson, right? Black guy who claims to be a Nazi, says he thinks African Americans should be the ones paying reparations. He says so many sickening things. The guy who talking about, he doesn't like trannies. He dislikes trannies, transvestites or whatever you are, transsexuals, whatever he's referring to. I don't know what he's referring to really, but something of that nature. And then you find out that he has been watching trans porn. So their politics really is always like opposite of what they're doing somehow themselves. And then they like project it in a weird way. And here's one of the ways. I mean, she's literally talking about Trump like he got one hostage free when he didn't get none free at all. It's like, yeah, here we go.
Hostage in Russia. Who would you want doing your negotiation deal? Donald Trump or Kamala Harris?
I would want the one doing something about it. Negotiation, anybody can negotiate, but do they follow through is the question. And did you get anything done yourself? And if the answer is no, you got to kind of see it like that. Donald Trump didn't get nothing. He barely even defended the country from Corona, you know? So, but in any case, let me read some more of these. Yeah, this guy, he believes Kamala would be, the last. I believe Donald would have met me in first class. No, Donald Trump wouldn't have done anything about you being locked up in Russia because that's what he actually did about it. Nothing. He talked about it when asked, hey, what are you doing about the prisoners? Yeah, I'm talking to Putin. We're trying to see what's up. Putin ain't give a damn about him. He ain't released no, whatever his negotiation skills were, Putin didn't give Donald Trump any prisoners. That's basically what it comes down to. Look at this. Trump all day. Trump all day. Okay. But look who supports this. I mean, let me see. I'm just saying, look, anonymous and unidentified. Look at this. This is 2011. Okay. See, the reason why I say this is because
Question of the day.
even though this account could be a real account from 2011, sure, maybe it is real. But don't you prefer people that aren't afraid to speak their minds, that really speak from the heart and speak what they believe, like show you who they are? Or do you prefer people that hide, rely on you to just believe, show no evidence of who or what they are, but, speak clearly and boldly, right? Like he's doing there. It's Trump all day, but it's not really like advocating. It's just like Trump all day. It's finger typing. That was it. You see this MAGA love from Jamaica. Oh yeah, we already got to her. Okay, let me see. Kamala would laugh and say, I grew up as a middle-class citizen. But is that what she actually did? Is that what she actually did? The administration that she served in, this current one, is the ones who actually got prisoners home. It's not Trump. So you might believe that, but you're believing it based on knowing nothing about it. I mean, that's crazy. Look at this, a no-brainer. Why is that a no-brainer? Why is this a no-brainer? You have to have a no-brainer to, of course it's a no-brainer. I get it. No brain energy putting towards the thought. It's just like Trump, no brain energy. I'm going to answer Trump. If some of the soft people on the left ever had to deal with something like that, they would then be crying for Donald Trump. Does this sound like an American? Does that sound like an American who wrote that? It just sounds strange. It just sounds strange, especially when you just try to think about the reality of it too, because it wasn't Trump who got any prisoners home. By the way, this woman should know that they're not hostages; they're prisoners. Just to let you know, they were arrested for and alleged to have committed crimes in Russia, and they were convicted in Russia, right? So you could call them hostages, but they just weren't snatched up from anywhere in that way. They were prisoners, and they were taken prisoner for political reasons, essentially, But in any case, look, Kamala won't show up for the negotiations. She won't show up for the negotiations. Okay, is that a way of saying, well, Trump at least said something about it, even though he didn't do anything? I guess that's what that is. Well, I'm not a pot smoking anti-American female basketball player, so Kamala wouldn't even show up for me. This comment makes no sense. Does that even sound like America? Hold on, let me just go back for a second. Let me look at this profile here. Anonymous and unidentified. Okay, Bobby Myers. Okay, there's nothing. So 2016. That's when Trump was in office. 2016 is when they say that the
Question of
arms and the disinformation
question of the day.
became huge. So that's within the scope, that one. But let me see here. Now back to that one. Let me go to this one, of course. Yeah, this is a weird comment. I don't even. And look, she actually loved it. If someone of the soft people on the left ever had to deal with something like that, they would then be crying for Donald Trump. Is this lady American herself? I'm curious about it. I'm really curious about this because I got to tell you, this is not critical thinking at all that she's clicking a love like on. It's like, well, what is intellectual about this? If someone of the soft people on the left ever had to deal with something like that, they would have been crying for Donald Trump. What's intellectual about that? There's no information. There's no facts in the statement. Donald Trump, of course, here we go. So you can see whenever there's no dissent, and little dissent, even when you go to my page, I leave up a lot of this foolishness, people that are supporting Trump, as long as they don't curse, or how can I say this? Call women out their name, call people out their name, things like this. As long as you don't do that, or fabricate something, then I leave it up. You see what I mean? You can have an opinion, but you can't come and lie about people or say things that aren't true. And it's not that I think people will believe it. It's just my own character. Like, I don't want people that come to my page generally know I like to know what I'm talking about, and I like to research a lot of the things before I even speak on them, so I don't sound like a fool, and so I can back up my arguments. So I want to keep it that way. So I don't want to spread false information like this person is kind of doing, by insinuating that somehow Trump did something. It's just a question, and I'll give her that. A lot of people fall for it because she didn't say Trump did anything, but she's insinuating that Kamala wouldn't, when it's her administration, they got the prisoners home, not Trump's. So she's in closer proximity to the solution than Trump was. Trump didn't have anything to say about it. He wasn't there for the swap. No one affiliated with Trump was there for the swap. But guess who was there, who was around, who's affiliated with the swap somehow, right? Through discussions, things like this, things that you're probably not privy to because you're not a vice president. She was, you see? So let me see here. And this is just pot smoking anti-American female. That's a diss on the lady. Look, the lady is not even anti-American. The lady who's playing basketball is not even anti-American. And this lady is clicking it. How is she anti-American? What the fuck is wrong with her? What's wrong with these people? How is the woman who played basketball? That's a cultural exchange. How could that be anti-American, seen as anti-American? So you don't see the role of cultural exchanges. You don't see how she went over there to teach, basically, to help basketball players, not because of her politics, for the love of the sport, to separate herself from the politics. And this person calls her a pot smoking anti-American. But is pot smoking anti-American? It's actually legal in a lot of states. I don't know if you realize that. So I'm not, just like a cheeseburger is in a lot of states. I mean, Do all Americans, have the same exact cultural practices? No. But what's anti American is calling other Americans that have slightly different cultural practices, insinuating that they're not American. That's not American, to be honest with you. But let's go on. How can you make America great again if you can't get the prisoners home and you don't want to? You're not willing to do anything for them. It's like what I'm trying to figure out. What did Trump want? Is it because he couldn't grift off of it? Okay, the Dom will spring me ASAP. Vlad, those are some pretty okay. Listen, so there's a lot of people you could see that are unfamiliar with this. So check this out. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but I don't understand it. Can I play this aloud or what? Let me see here. I'm gonna read it aloud. Can y'all see this? Let me see. All right. Oh, it's not pulled up. I see. Damn. I can't pull this up. Okay, let me see. I gotta do it like this. All right. So, here it is. During Donald Trump's presidency, there were American hostages and individuals accused of crimes in Russia. Oh damn, they calling them hostages here too. Okay, I wouldn't. Maybe that's what. Maybe they used this term. But they were definitely prisoners, right? And that's why it's called a prisoner exchange. It's not called a hostage exchange. But in any case, individuals accused of crimes in Russia, notably Paul Whelan and Trevor Reed. Here's a brief overview of their situations and Trump's actions regarding them. Paul Whelan. Situation. Paul Whelan, a former Marine, was arrested in December 2018. That's during Trump's presidency. And accused of espionage. He denied the charges, claiming he was framed. Trump's actions. Trump mentioned Whelan's case publicly, but did not take significant steps for his release during his presidency. The U.S. government continued to call for Whelan's release, but he remained imprisoned throughout Trump's term. Trump's actions were not strong enough to get Vladimir Putin to okay the release. I mean, I don't know if that's a good negotiator for you, but apparently it is for these people on this lady's page. Okay, Trevor Reed. Situation. Trevor Reed, a former U.S. Marine, was detained in August 2019. That's a year later, and later sentenced to 9 years in prison for allegedly assaulting police officers, a charge he and his family disputed as false. Trump's actions, while Trump did mention Reed's case, he mentioned it, significant diplomatic efforts for Reed's release intensified after he left office. And for those that don't understand that, the Trump supporters, what it means is that while Trump left office without his release, the Biden-Harris administration increased efforts. That means they did more than Trump. That's what that means. Oh my goodness, significant diplomatic efforts for Reed's release intensified after Trump left office. In April 2022, after Biden took office, this is 1 year after he took office, or 2 years, Reed was released in a prisoner swap. Okay, general context. During Trump's presidency, there was a broader context of U.S.-Russian relations, which were tense due to various geopolitical issues. I bet you none of those people on that thread I was just mentioning can talk about any of these things, including interference in 2016 election and the annexation of Crimea. See, you would think that Trump would have got some prisoners since the annexation had happened, but no, he couldn't even get 2 prisoners. You know, Trump administration did not express concerns about American citizens detained in Russia. Oh, I'm sorry. Trump's administration, did express concerns about American citizens detained in Russia, but concrete actions for specific individuals like Whelan and Reed were limited during this presidency. In summary, while were Americans detained in Russia during Trump's term, his administration did not achieve significant breakthroughs in their release. Now, let's just go back to this and just see if this makes any sense to you. Now that you heard that, does this make any sense to you?
If you were being held as a hostage in Russia, who would you want doing your negotiation deal? Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? Question of the day. If you were being held as a hostage in Russia, who would you want doing your negotiation deal? Donald Trump or Kamala Harris?
Kamala Harris. Yes, ma'am. Kamala Harris, I would. And the reason why is because the Biden-Harris administration actually got some hostages released, to various ones, in case you missed it. But Trump didn't get any. Trump didn't get any. Now, let me see something here before I go back to this. Okay. How many prisoners did Biden get released in his presidency? Okay. From Russia specifically, all right? So let's see here. Okay. Still pulling back the information. Okay, there's 3 so far coming up. 1, 2, 3. Let me put that up on the screen so people can see. Yeah. Right. Now I want to do some more digging, make sure. I want to see. I thought there was actually even maybe more than this, but here's the thing. So there's 3 during. Here's where GDP pulled back, and of course you could feel me. I don't search GDP one time about a topic, and I usually change the questioning a little around if I don't get like enough. If the answer's volume is not large enough, I usually try to ask the same question in a different way. But in any case, I asked how many prisoners did Joe Biden get released in his term from Russia. During Joe Biden's presidency, several high-profile Americans were released from Russian custody. Primarily, let me put it back. Yeah, y'all don't need to see that right now. Primarily through diplomatic negotiations and prisoner swaps. Here are the major cases. Now, these are the major ones. Situation, Trevor Reed, right? We mentioned that. He was released in a prisoner swap April 2022. He was detained in 2019. He was detained while Trump was president, and he was released after. Now, then we have Brittany Griner. She was detained in 2022, right? And she was released. Actually, here she was sentenced to 9 years in prison. Griner was released in a high-profile prisoner swap in December 2022. The U.S. exchanged her for Victor Bout. Now, remember, people, what's odd about this page here that I'm looking at is people, they're like, if you remember back when Biden got the president's release, the same MAGA people criticized him for giving up Russian people they thought should stay behind bars. But now the same MAGA people, they done totally forgot that Biden got these people back and Trump didn't get anybody back. It's like the whole thing just washed away in their head. And I don't know if this woman is doing this on purpose, like lying on purpose, or if she really believes it. But if she is lying on purpose, um, you know, it's I hope she's getting a whole lot of money for it. I hope she's getting paid well because I would rather have her lie and get some money than to really believe what she's saying and be that ignorant. To be honest, because what's going on here is a lot of ignorance here. Let's read some more.
Question of the day. If you were being held as a hostage in Russia, who would you want doing your negotiation deal? Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? Question of the day.
Let me give you that shade, girl. Let me give you that shade. Oh, Kamala Harris. And people, this is almost. I'm sure there's more of these people now here. Trump all the way, and we wouldn't trade major criminals. You see, we wouldn't trade major criminals. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you trade major criminals? You can't have it both ways. Trump, what did he get? Did he get anyone home? No. So why didn't Trump do something better? Is the question. Trump could have got the prisoner before released. He talked about it. People asked him about it, but he didn't do anything significant about it. So, what level of what could Trump have done that would have been significant to obtain their release? What did he do that was significant to obtain their release? Nothing. 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 Biden is the one who did something significant to obtain people who were wrongfully detained, imprisoned in Russia. Kamala would just go do whatever she's doing now, which is not a thing. I'm very sure that a lot of this. Look at this, 2020. So this is like a person who's been on YouTube for 4 years, but that's within the scope of the troll farms. That's troll farms is like 2016 and up in terms of interfering with American elections. And like I've been trying to say here, these things. I asked this question when I first started. Do you notice that these anonymous, unidentified, empty rhetoric, shows or I don't know what you call this. Is this called a content creator? Yeah. Has there been a rise in this kind of stuff? Do you think in the last couple of weeks after Kamala Harris walked all over Trump in the debate that he doesn't want any more of? And I did say that. I said after that whooping, immediately after, I said, Trump, he ain't coming back there won't be another debate, period. Forget what you think. You got to know what type of dude he is. He hates losing. And losing, the idea of losing twice, he just knows he's getting the floor wiped with him. And he knew that in the beginning. He didn't want to do the debate in the beginning. He didn't even want to debate Kamala Harris once. And you found out why. But he has the troll farms still rooting on him. But do troll farm energy on the internet, does it equal votes? Because the question is, what percentage of the American population are just blind, deaf, and dumb? Because the ones that aren't blind, deaf, and dumb, the ones that are halfway intelligent, they ain't voting for Trump. I'm not talking about the extremely intelligent. I mean halfway. They're not voting for Trump. They see through the masquerade. They have been largely, a lot of them, victims of disinformation. I mean, victims of a foreign operation on American soil, even. Or via the internet. They could be in any country doing the troll farming, pretending to be other people, having accounts, just put somebody else's face up. I mean, they had a Danish woman's face up Trump, advertising her with a Trump hat on, and it came back to Denmark in the news, and the lady was like humiliated. She's like, well, why is this? This is so vulgar to do, but they did it. You see what I mean? So a lot of that is happening right now. A lot of fake profiling, false flagging. Like this, I would call this a false flag. Like the entire conversation. Look,
Today, if you were being held as a hostage in Russia, who would you want doing your negotiation deal? Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? Question of the day. If you were being held as a hostage in Russia, who would you want?
Yo, it's empty. There's no facts in it. It's just asking, who do you, and then throwing the shade in the end. Like, it, girl. You know it. That former light come from, hold on, let me see this. What would you say, Andrea? That former light likes to come in after the fact to say what he would have done when in fact he didn't. So it ain't going to do shit. It's like, Andrea, it's like living in a magic land right now. It's like living in a fairy tale land. And the fairy tale land exists, except it's only in feeling. It's not backed up by anything concrete. So I think the MAGA cult is kind of like a feel-good cult where if you say feel-good things, that's enough. You see what I mean? They don't want to talk substance. Because look, it's just Trump one-on-one. That's not substance. MAGA love from Jamaica. That's not substance. Trump all day. No substance. A lot of this, that's a no-brainer. Trump, doesn't sound too believable to me. All right, now let me look at this. Oh, she watched Jaguar Wright. Whoever this is, Rhonda. Okay, there you go, girl. Rhonda. Okay, this might be a real person there, but watch it. You got to know Jaguar Wright is not right about everything.
Question of the day.
I watch it too, but dang, some of that stuff I have to fly off of. Anytime a person knows everything about all of the bad details, you got to start asking, damn, are you part of it? But in any case, look at this. Make absolutely Trump 2024. Make America great again. Let me see this one. I've been doing this lately because I just look at this. See, 2 years old. You see this? You see, and you don't even know if they're just using an American sounding name. I'm going to be honest with you.
Question of the day.
You really don't know. And that's what's going on. That's why opinions are great. But when you as a person don't stand behind your opinion, like we don't get to hear your voice. We don't get to see what you look like. We don't get to know that you're authentic, right? But you have just a undeniable, unwavering, extreme support that requires no facts. Boom. It kind of looks like a troll. Look, much respect, President Trump. Look at this. See, all these accounts, look at this, 2020, don't they start looking alike? And I look at these things before. I'm looking at this stuff live. This is my reaction. It's a real reaction to this. Okay, much respect, President Trump. You see, not Kamala for sure. Look at this. Look at even the letters. Look at this. See, 20. You see that? Look, these are not these are bot accounts, y'all. And I'm gonna go in. You guys can do more. I think I illustrated my point. You can go and look through more of these. I'm gonna put the link right here to it in the chat, and you guys can look and you tell me. You do your own analysis. But I kind of gotten used to seeing these things, listening to some of the comments, and so now I got an eye for kind of seeing fake accounts. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of them. They're troll accounts. You can get hit with them anytime. I've been hit with them, but they're just out there. They're just out there, and also people use it. Maybe this is just like a service she paid for. Don't forget that. There's a lot of people that pay for these services to have persons send fake profiles your way, and you even get to make up the comments that they say. It's facts on the internet. So keep that in mind when you Listen to a content creator. Don't everything that glitters is not gold. You see what I'm saying? Like for me, I'm being real today. Had a couple errands to run around the house, doing a little bit of cleaning, was reading a little bit. I decided to stop to do a live. I just look like I'm roaming around the house. I don't even care. I had to, I've been up since early and I had to, this morning. You see what I mean? Doing a lot of different things around the home. Um, so I'm just coming to you as I am, real. But it's not glittery. There's nothing glittery here, but it's factual. If you can deal with facts, it's factual. Let me. What was the last thing? Right. Let me do one thing real quick. I need to I need to go to this person's. Okay, I see what it is, and get their handle.
The other day, if you were being held,
I am Pearls of Eden. Let me just look something up real quick because I have a way. Let me see here. There we have it. Now let me look. The name is what? The name is I Am Pearls of Eden. Okay, let me see if I can find that here. I Am Pearls of Eden. Okay. Let me see if that comes up in here. Probably won't. Okay, that one is now right. So let me see.
held as a hostage.
Okay, let me do something else. Okay, yeah. I don't know why that didn't come up. That's interesting. But that is the correct handle. So let me try that again. Oh, I see. Maybe I also need to change how I typed it. I think I can put the handle on there too. Right. I think I found it right here. Now, let me check something real quick. What is this, man? I want a rebate. Okay. So now what I'm going to say, is that that channel, even though it's been around since 2013, it's not monetized. Right. So I don't know if it was monetized, but you can clearly see it's like MAGA, 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 right? Um, but to me, when my page got demonetized, right? It's not because of my statistics, it was because I was doing something that YouTube doesn't permit. And what that thing is that I was, some of the news clips that I have in the video section, I'm not allowed to have all of them there. You see what I mean? Even though the news companies don't mind, YouTube wants you to do a certain amount of things to them before you present it. And I wasn't really doing that all the time, in the last month or so. So YouTube caught up to me and said, hey, you're going to be withheld from monetization for a certain point until you clear that material up, right? Period. And but you should know that a lot of people get demonetized from YouTube for using bots while they're monetized. That's a different thing. You see what I'm saying? It happens, and it happens all the time. Some people get demonetized for spreading false information. But see, I have a note from YouTube that states why I was demonetized. So if anyone wants to ask me, it's there. The note is there every day of the week. It's in the YouTube channel. They tell you why you're demonetized. So you can ask anybody to show evidence of why they're demonetized. You can ask them. I mean, that's how YouTube works. There's a back end to YouTube, you know. But in any case, coming back to this video, be careful
Question.
about persons that you just accept, because right now it's an election period. There's a lot of false information going around. The false information has been deemed as election interference. So if you're getting talking points from someone else, as a content creator, and your source happens to be a Russian troll farm or a source that's connected to a Russian troll farm, then you would also be basically falling in that category. You see, so it's one thing to be a fool, but I gotta tell you, I myself, I really hope this lady is a fool and just doesn't know what she's talking about, because maybe she doesn't research. And there's a lot of people that don't. They hear something 5 times and they believe it. They never research it. After they heard it 5 times, it means they don't have to research it. It must be true because 5 people said it, right? Well, at one time they believed black people had tails. Some people believe that because folks said it 5 times. It didn't make it real. And people believe stuff like that for a long period of history. You see, just because people say it. So do yourself a favor and research. It's obvious to anybody that does any research that you can't criticize Biden or Harris for getting the release of prisoners from Russia when the person you support had an opportunity to do the same and couldn't even do that. It makes no sense. So this is what I call a false, just a false, empty presentation that's relying on people that do not know the facts for it to wash. If you know the facts, it looks silly and it makes you wonder what the hell is going on. What is the get up? What is even this American flag? Like, how can you even have do you notice a lot of people that rock the American flag, a lot of times they're not really like giving a damn. They don't really like the country. Like seriously, like don't have anything to, it really confuses me sometimes. Like when you see people that can rock a flag, but have less American values, less knowledge about the country, yeah, man, it just makes me wonder. Like, for example, how could you not know Biden and Harris got prisoners out from Russia and Trump didn't? How could you not know that? And the reason why I'm saying you didn't know that is because you made this short and put it on the internet as a volunteer yourself.
Another day, if you were being held as a hostage in Russia, who would you want doing your negotiation deal? Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? Question of the day. If you were being held as a hostage in Russia, who would you want doing your negotiation deal? Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? Question of the day.
Who would you want, Donald Trump or Kamala Harris?
You're quite hostile. You're quite hostile. You're quite hostile. You're quite hostile.